The city's a business.
Yeah.
And I think you want the best business person possible in that role.
The government isn't the best at innovating. That's kind of why the private sector exists.
No.
They're getting their information from a billboard or from a social media campaign, but they're not getting real facts and how it's affecting people.
When you're playing in that kind of game and you've got over $250 million out every year, there's a lot of stress involved.
To create something new, to chase something new, to build something keeps you spry for sure.
That's the idea. As long as you're passionate about it, then it's not work.
What about the summer for you? Even though it's been soaking wet, have you got to get away? Or?
Soaking wet and moving?
Yeah.
We are going to go. We are going to go here next Friday. We're going to go down to Montana for a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, what are you doing down there?
Just relaxing.
Yeah.
As you can appreciate, when you move, you end up with all these boxes and you're trying to unpack and you can't find stuff.
Yeah, I've actually never been down to Montana, but
Haven't you?
I usually go down to Vancouver and then I go down to Seattle, but
Yeah.
for some reason I've never just gone south from where I live.
Montana is just beautiful, natural, just a very simple way of life down there. The locals are great. They welcome Canadians with open arms.
Yeah, the closest I've been is watching like Yellowstone. So
Okay.
It looks gorgeous on TV
Yes.
at least, but
It is that backwater. It is the wild, wild west at times.
That's
'cause
awesome.
They walk around with open carry there. That's always interesting.
Yeah.
As you see your neighbor walking his dog with a gun holstered on his side.
Yeah. A bit of a shock to Canadians for sure.
It's a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
I mean, but they're good people.
Yeah,
and
100%.
we have some good laughs when we
And they
chat
have
them up.
what's the national park with the geysers right there, just across the border, right?
Not just across the border, but I mean,
Yeah, a
it's
couple hours.
essentially Yellowstone Park.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's
I haven't
awesome.
been that far down. I've only driven through, trying to get down to Phoenix, but
Yeah,
beautiful, beautiful country along the way.
yeah. No, I'm also going on a bit of a trip. Well, me and Donovan are going to be filming for Star for the Ride Through the Rockies.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's in Pincher Creek, Donovan. Yeah, so Pincher Creek.
When does that happen?
That's we leave on the 15th, and it's 15, 16, 17. And then,
Keep the weather nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, last year when we were driving in, when we showed up, there was the craziest storm ever. We were going into Radium, and there's the two like rock cliffs that you go through in the way to Radium. When we were driving up to there, a tree fell down and there was a rock sliding down the hill at us.
Oh,
and then
wow.
we got in, and there was, I kid you not, there was not telephone poles, the light poles on the ground on the road that we had to drive around. That's how big the storm was. We got to the hotel, and there was no power in the hotel. And it's the resort on the golf club there. Beautiful place, but you couldn't see anything. So we're there with our phones as flashlights. They closed they closed the bar. They closed off all the common areas and sent people to their rooms. And I was like, well, it's pitch black. This is actually the only place that you guys have a generator running.
Yeah.
So you should keep people here. But it was insane. But this year, Pincher Creek, hoping for better weather than day one of last year. And then from there, I'm going right to Kelowna. And then I'm going out to, we have a lot on Kookanuska with a trailer on it. So I'm going to spend like a
Canadian
week out
side?
there. Yeah, Canadian side.
Okay. Yeah, well, we're down on Kookanusa. We're on the U.S. side.
Yeah, it's gorgeous there. Hey?
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Well, that's why I say it's a little bit backwater, but I mean, I like it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's just very simple.
Yeah. No,
Sorry, which campground? Now I'm curious.
Sandy Shores.
Okay.
Sandy Shores.
Yeah,
so,
we started off there many, many years ago before I decided that it was time for a permanent place. We were down at Big Pine.
Yeah, so I'm looking to get a permanent place somewhere. I want the whole deal, though, the electricity with the sewage and everything, right? Like,
yeah.
And I find on the Canadian side, at least, that's hard to find at Kookanuska. So I'm looking at like Sicamous. I was even looking at like Gull Lake. So
Yeah.
So I'd like to find a place that lets you build a modular on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so put a trailer there for now, and then start building like a home away from home.
There's still some opportunities up there.
Yeah.
The reason we loved Kookanusa so much, we just didn't want to leave, and of course at the time the dollar was at par, so
yeah,
going and building across the border was a hell of a lot easier than it is now.
Yeah, and you see that a lot right now. Like as my main business being in marketing and software. Like we're paying a huge amount more monthly.
Yes.
Thousands more just on our software licensing fees, which is like insane to look at. When we looked at, because we just did our fiscal end, and me and my business partner were like, holy crap, is that a quick climb? Because as the team grows, obviously you have to add more licenses for everything, right?
Yeah,
but then you're looking at the licenses that were $1,000 are now $1,300, and it's like, oh man, you added 3 people, but you actually added 4. Right. So it's really interesting. So we'll see how that goes. Speaking of like modular homes, is like that anything that you guys have ever kind of looked at yourselves?
No.
Yeah. I've seen some pretty cool ones.
If we go back to Cal's life prior to starting up Shane Homes, that was the business he was in.
Oh, really?
He was the VP of Sales and Marketing for Neonex Shelter here in Calgary, and you'd know the location if you know where the Crossroads Furniture Market is.
Yep.
That used to be their plant.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, and they used to be the largest supplier in Western Canada, and it was actually Cal's recommendation that they shut it down because they were gaining market share, but they were losing a lot of profit margin. It just wasn't viable anymore.
Yeah.
But they were turning out, 3,000 units a year.
That's crazy.
It was huge, but it just wasn't viable anymore. People weren't buying them in the city. It wasn't allowed in the city, so they became more of a rec property. And I'm not saying there's not a market for it, but it's just not as big as it used to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was out at Gull Lake, and I can't remember the community that it was, but I was pretty impressed by some of the modular homes. I was like, these look like modern, really fancy places. And they had a limit, I think, of 1,200 square feet.
Yep.
But some of the places, they looked amazing, and you get a good lot size, and you can rather be in the trees or on the beach. So there's a good selection depending on what you want, right? So,
well, like I said, there's a market for it, and groups like Star hasn't done it yet, but I mean, you can do. They could at some point in time build modular units for primarily multifamily would be ideal.
Yeah.
Is it any more cost effective as just stick framing it? No.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
the options do exist there. We love using them because of the panelization that we can do.
Yeah.
So you can prefabricate the floors, the walls, and the roof trusses, and put a house together 2 or 3 days quicker than we could if we were stick framing it, and likely a little more accurate.
What is the timeline on putting a house together for my own benefit here?
Well, it depends.
How long does it take to put one up usually?
Well,
like
nowadays,
let's say utilities are pulled and the foundation is dug.
If we just go from a regular bare lot in a subdivision, you're going to spend 120 days in the office just trying to move that through and get a permit.
Yeah,
and another 6 months in building a 2,200 square foot 2-story.
Yeah,
it's considerably longer than what it was even when I started.
Yeah. That's something that I think really needs to be fixed right now, as we can see, right, with a little bit of the housing shortage that went down, but the sales are dropping like 19% and then 20%, so it's slowing down. But
well, that's always been my big problem with government. And you talk about the red tape. It's like, you're the only reason that things have become longer.
Yeah.
The science of a house, and what we build in it today isn't a heck of a lot different than what it was before.
Yeah.
But it's just all those extra layers of approvals and inspections and what have you that have caused the timelines to go so far out of whack.
And you even see that like on the commercial side too, though. Like I know like a lot of like restaurants and retail, they're waiting over 2 months just to get their inspections from the city.
Oh gosh,
right.
Yeah.
So it's like you end up like when you do the deal, you start paying on this day. It's not like, you start paying when the government says that you can run your shop. No, like a lot of them you don't get to put in a condition that says, I have to pass my inspection, because you've already built everything out and everything by then. So it's your space. So these people, usually you might get some free rent, or you might get some tenant improvements to help you for a couple months.
Yes.
But it ends up not helping you, because by the time the free rent's out, you're just finishing your inspections, which is, it's really tough. And we see so many restaurants open and close quickly right now in Calgary, right? And with What's Good Calgary, we work with so many restaurants,
Yes.
and we hear about so many of their struggles. Like, on the corner of 17th and 14th, there's that it used to be a wing place.
Yes.
And it just finally got leased out. And it was like 2023 that it went empty, and it just got leased out. I think it was 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
They're out of business. It's empty again.
Already?
Yeah. So that building's big. It has the 2 floors and it has the rooftop, and it sits there just empty. So it's pretty insane. And then across the street from us, on McLeod here, there's every single restaurant. It's just a revolving door right now, and it's really unfortunate to see. But it's there's a lot
jump into Marda Loop, and you look at the struggles that businesses have had there. And
we were talking about that yesterday. There was another business that closed the day before yesterday, I believe, in Marda Loop. Doodle Dogs. I wasn't familiar with them, but still, it's insane. I think there's a class action now. So
that's what I just read,
and
thankfully, actually, I'm not a big class action lawsuit fan, but at the same time, I feel for them. I went for coffee there with Ken Bexty about 3 months ago, and I even asked him. I said, "You sure you want to go down there?" He says, "Yeah, I might be writing something about it." I'm like, "Okay." So we go down there, and why would you want to go shop there? It's pretty insane. I had to park illegally in the Safeway parking lot.
Yeah, that's what I do too.
That's all I could do. And, you feel for the businesses around there, because how do you operate when people can't even get close to your shop?
I believe Boogie Burgers, when it started like years ago, started doing buy one, get one free burger as long as the construction's going. I don't know if they still are actually doing it, but like that's what they were like resorting to, is like, we got to give away half of our stuff for free to get people here.
Yes.
And it's like, there's some nice restaurants there too. I think it's called The Market or something.
Yes.
And like that's tough. They're a newer place, and it's like, it's hard to get there. Like, I went there once and I loved it, and the experience getting there was bad. So it's like that it is tough to see. And there has to be some sort of accountability, I guess, for city council and whatnot for that, but we'll see.
That's what we're all experiencing now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what industry you're in. I mean, that's just the perfect extreme example of how can you take things and screw it up by improper planning.
Yeah. And I see it a lot. Well, there was just a pothole on Glenmore that was popping so many tires overnight that they rush and patch. They finished that whole part of the road. And I was like, man, you guys can actually do it that fast? Like, you should always do it that fast. What kind of hoops did you have to jump? You just cut the red tape for once. That's what happened. So it's interesting to see. So anyways, we'll see what happens. We have we also next week we have Jeff Davison on. So I'm excited to be talking to him a little bit and talking to him.
He should be the mayor of this city.
Doing. I agree. Yeah, I think he's a no-brainer. He's a great pick. He's a great guy. He's the CEO of
Prostate Cancer Center.
Yeah. Like, and I follow him closely on social media. He's always up to fun stuff. I see him at all the events that I go to. He makes appearances everywhere. He's very friendly. We talked to him for 2 minutes, and he's like, "I want to be on your podcast." I was like, "Perfect." Yeah.
The biggest challenge he ran into last time is he didn't have the same profile as everyone else.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a little bit of a split between like Sharp and him. Like, it's dividing the vote a little bit, which gives some people a little bit of a better heads up.
Sure, but we're still in August. It's not even September yet. I think that's when you'll start to see a lot of the campaigns kick into higher gear.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. We'll see.
In his case, I'm all in favor for him, because the city's a business.
Yeah,
it is. And I think you want the best business person possible in that role. I know what Jeff's capable of. I've known him long enough. I look at what the advancements he's made with the Prostate Cancer Center, and I mean, that's in a very short period of time that he's made these changes. I mean, I think they make 3 times as much as they used to.
Wow.
Than before he got there.
Yeah, I think like a big thing to look at is, for instance, people get pretty upset when they hear the salary of the CEO of Red Cross. It's like 330 some million and annually. And then, but you look at the there's a website where you can see all the charities and how many dollars or cents per dollar actually make it to the front line to whatever the cause is. And Red Cross leads by miles, and it's because they're paying somebody who's the best in that area to be able to do it.
Absolutely.
And that's the same how it should be with a city. And I feel like nowadays it's pretty easy to go into like the private sector and work for yourself and make good money and like give yourself a good life. And it's almost a must because it's hard to make it anywhere else right now because it's tough out there with inflation and whatnot. So yeah, I guess there's a lot of these people who get sucked into the private sector, but we have to entice these people to come back to public service, to running the municipalities and stuff. Because
there's a simple way of doing that: get rid of the pensions and pay them twice as much.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
I know. I've had arguments with people like Rick Bell over this years ago, and he keeps sitting there saying, "You're there to serve." I said, Rick, you want the best people possible?
Yeah.
Pay the mayor twice as much. Pay your councilors twice as much. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, make sure that for the term they're there, it's the best thing that they could be doing, right? And I can always come back to what else I'm doing after that.
Sure.
Right? But no, yeah, I think that is the right way to look at it, is get rid of the pensions and double the salaries.
Yeah, well, because you've seen how pensions work. I mean, some of them stick around for 3-4 terms. They maximize what their pension is. And then they ride off into the distance. But yet, for their last term, they've done nothing. They've effectively sat on their ass.
Yeah.
They haven't been there for crucial votes, and they're all over the place.
Yeah, yeah.
How is that fair?
It's not, and it's tough to see, and it's interesting to see. Like, there's a lot of bad actors out there in that world. It kind of it pulls them, right? So,
boy, is it ever.
Because there's not really enough knowledge out there to the general public, right? Like that's something like you're working so closely in the industry, but that deals with a lot of this red tape and with the development and a lot of the policy. It affects you and your businesses, your group of company in such a large way that you have an integral understanding of it. Whereas most people, they're getting their information from a billboard or from a social media campaign, but they're not getting real facts and how it's affecting people, right? So I think that's a big thing, is the education of how these policies are actually affecting things and not the ideals behind the policies. Like that's what has to be brought to light to the general public. Yeah.
Well, they have to understand the red tape that's thrown in front of us.
Yeah.
Well, in front of any business, you mentioned the commercial side of it with opening a restaurant. Why is this so difficult?
Oh, it's insane.
It shouldn't be this difficult. Somebody just wants to open up a business, and if you keep throwing these roadblocks in, you lose those entrepreneurs. They move on to somewhere where it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
I use Dallas as an example. Why did we not open up another city in Canada? Why Dallas? Because it was easy.
Yeah. 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 Well,
we had municipalities welcoming us with open arms. Please come and invest in our city.
Yeah.
Come develop lots, come build houses for all the people moving here. They were welcoming.
Yeah.
And we were able to pull that off. Our show home opening is September 6th this year. We started this 16 months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But that's how easy it was to start.
Yeah. And it like, I recently had a good friend of mine, Sam Hale, on, and he started a meal prep company in college, and it turned into this big thing, and now it's an AI-based dietitian and nutrition system for meal prep companies to use, and he's signed a deal with Medicaid in the States. So if you have diabetes, you can get your food through your insurance through Medicaid, shipped to your house, which is huge.
Yes.
And he had a lot of red tape in Canada. He was just on, and he said it's a lot harder here to get anything like that over. And it's huge because it's food as medicine, and it's like, well, you can just start at the source instead of at Medicaid after. But that's a big thing that we're seeing, is people moving down to the States, and especially even when I go to Platform Calgary to a networking event or something, and everyone's like, oh, well, yeah, you got to go to these down in the States, right? Everyone's talking about that, and it's kind of scary to see all of like Canada's smartest minds and biggest entrepreneurs and the people who create jobs they're enticed to go and where their money actually gets given back to them as well.
Well, again, when you have a municipality sitting there saying, please come, build, develop. It's like, well, okay, sure. We're not getting that anywhere else. I mean, the barriers are too great.
Yeah.
And isn't that sad to say? I thought that's not the Canada I remember.
I didn't read much into it, but I saw recently that Canada's problem isn't lack of housing in cities, it's a lack of cities. And that's what the change needs to be, is that we need to start building more towns.
You're living in one right now. Calgary is the perfect unicity model. The smaller municipalities surrounding it should be growing leaps and bounds, and Calgary should kind of be slowing down. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah,
because it's Calgary that's sitting there in control of all of this and limiting them on what they can do.
Yeah. You'd think with so much remote work, too, that it would start happening on its own.
Well, you're starting to see that with people. Smaller cities like Airdrie, Chestermere, Cochrane, Okotoks, they've all become far more attractive for those who don't need to commute anymore.
Yeah.
They just want that small town life, and they can get it close to the big city, but they're building it into their homes. I've seen people apply for, or take down a corner lot, apply for a business license and put a stairwell into the basement. They're running their operation out of there.
Yeah.
Why? Because they can get the parking and they can live and work in the same place.
Yeah.
Also helps pay the mortgage too.
Yeah. And you get a little tax credit and everything.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I guess it's interesting too, even with these small towns that should be growing more and more. But like one thing Jeff Davison is pretty vocal about is, like, for instance, the multifamily that's going on with the rezoning. And like, I could see why the positives and I can see the negatives, right? Like if you have a nice big house and you bought because the area was supposed to be like that, you don't want an apartment building popping up over the two lots behind you for some reason, right? But at the same time, people need places to live, but there is a lot of places to live. There's Okotoks, there's Chestermere, there's Strathmore, there's Cochrane. I lived in Black Diamond for 3 years.
Did you?
Gorgeous. I'm thinking about
it's a beautiful
moving back.
Little town.
Yeah, I'm looking at places right now. So
you get a little more room between you and your neighbor, and and it's just that there's something about that small town life, not just similar to talking about
everyone.
Kukanusa. We're in Abeyance Bay. 6 minutes down the road is the town of Eureka. Population exploded to 1,800. But you're not going to find a Starbucks. You're going to go to Watson's Food Market, or you're going to go to the local market in town. Where you can get some more natural foods at. But that's appealing.
Yeah, and there's quite the sense of community, which I'm losing here in Calgary for some reason. I used to, when I lived in downtown Calgary, in my early 20s. I'm in my 30s now. I know I look great, so. But there was such a sense of community downtown for me. I felt like I knew everyone downtown, and when I was walking, I did, and everyone was friendly. And I feel like that's really left a lot downtown, and it's probably the state of downtown is gone since COVID, so that has a huge play in it. But I feel like that sense of community somehow needs to come back, and that's why I'm looking. I'm like, I'd rather move back to Black Diamond right now and do the 2 hours of commuting every single day. You know what I mean?
But that's where you see the blanket rezoning affecting the fabric of communities. You're not saying you can't do things like that, but that's where the local area planning, the LAPs, were crucial to Calgary's growth prior to this knee-jerk reaction. Let's get money from the feds. Let's do this. You don't have the proper infrastructure in place. I mean, we built a number of inner-city houses, but now imagine taking those old services that are set up for, your typical bungalow from the 1960s and tearing up that block and sticking up an apartment building, tying into that service. It's going to fail eventually.
Yeah.
And it will fail. It'll continue to fail. But at least if you plan it with an LAP, you can transition these apartment blocks or higher density, rather, even on your main corridors.
Yeah.
Which is where they should be, because your public transit's there, and you can upgrade the entire strip properly.
Yeah.
why are we not continuing on with that? Why? Because somebody complained that, we need a more affordable housing. Well, guess what? Just because I tear down that 1960s bungalow and stick up, 3 townhomes does not mean it's going to be more affordable, because I just paid $1.2 million for that old bungalow.
Yeah.
And the tie-ins are $50,000 a unit.
Mm-hmm.
And, the building cost's still the same as what we do. The only difference is now you're digging a hole, and now you got to shore up the sides to make sure it doesn't collapse the neighbor's fence and the and the foundation of the property next door to it.
Yeah.
So you're putting in a townhome, and now you're charging people $750,000, $800,000 for it.
Mm-hmm.
What did we achieve?
Yeah.
I'm still building that same unit out in suburbia for $400,000.
Yeah. I was looking at like some subsidized housing in Calgary, like apartments for rent.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it was an old office building that was subsidized to become housing in Calgary.
Yes.
And when it was built, people were pretty upset because it was like 600 square foot units with 3 bedrooms and 1 bath, and the rent was like $2,200.
Yes.
So when people started messaging Gondek and her team, she was like, well, no, we just subsidized it for the business. It's not supposed to be affordable for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's pretty crazy to look at that. So it didn't really end up helping much. Yeah.
The purchaser didn't win.
No, yeah. So that's what I mean. So
somebody got their commercial building converted to residential.
Yeah. So so all that happened is the business won, right? Which is a good thing for the business, right? I'm a business owner as well, but I mean, it's smoke and mirrors to get these things passed sometimes, where they're pretending it's going to help out, and it's not really in the end, right? It's just adding to the problem.
Yeah.
Right? But
it's
yeah.
It's just smoke and mirrors more than anything.
Yeah.
And I know people love to hear me say this, but I mean, if you want affordable housing, that's why you have suburbia.
Yeah, which is awesome though. But I'm a huge fan, as I said. Yeah,
suburbia, or like you mentioned, the smaller cities and towns.
Yeah,
I mean, they have to pick up the growth. They have their own advocates, and they have their older communities there who don't want to see them grow. I mean, so you have to find a happy balance, but
yeah.
At the same time, that's the only way you're going to bring up the affordability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think like in the time that I was over in Black Diamond, like, because my parents moved there when I was 18, and I remember their house was like the only house in that whole community that was built yet. And now it's grown so much. I feel like it's a pretty welcoming town for how small it was and where it's at now. So
absolutely,
that's nice
it
to
is.
see. Where did you grow up in a big city, or?
No, I grew up here in Calgary, but the population was only about 650,000 then.
So it's tripled.
It's basically tripled in that time.
Yeah.
So I mean, in a way, it's nice to see it, and in a way, not so nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
We're small enough that I still think there is some great synergy within the city, but the larger you grow, the further apart everyone grows.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I also have a different idea as to what the future looks like for housing here and communities. I know that the old ideology suggests that you build up your downtown core and you build out from there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it that way.
No.
I see kind of a hybrid between what we just talked about, where your suburban communities become more self-contained.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, you want to be able to save the drive time into downtown. You have remote working opportunities, but why does everybody have to drive into the core to go to a job?
Yeah. No,
why can't businesses
totally agree.
open up in business parks right beside your suburban communities?
If you look at the southeast, like Sundance, Mindapore area, they have that big business park with like the Fleur office building and a bunch of huge medical space, and that should be everywhere. Yeah. And
that should be your model moving forward.
Yeah.
You're getting cars off the road. You're saving people drive time, giving them back their time in their lives rather than spending an hour or two on the road just trying to get into the core. That's the future. That's how it works.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how it's going to become
and
better.
It will bring back that sense of community that we talked about too, because you will be closer to the community. You're not going really far away to these people you're never going to see again.
Exactly.
You're going to people every day that you're going to see. They're going to be the same people at the store when you're buying milk. They're going to be the same people when you're on your walk with your dog, right?
Exactly.
And it would build that sense of community that I think is kind of falling out right now. So, yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Yeah. And will they all be smart homes?
They're already smart homes.
Yeah.
Again, just from moving, you get to learn a little bit more about it. I mean, we did this years ago when we went down to the Consumer Electronics Show, and I was absolutely floored. You're going through the Vegas Convention Center, and then you find out, there's more over at the Sands Convention Center as well, and they have 2 floors, and that's all you see are consumer electronics products that are there for not only health and wellness, but for the home.
Yeah.
And you could tell then, why we had to come back and we had to implement this. We had to start putting in, the doorbells, the cameras, the thermostats as a standard. It wasn't an option anymore. You had to include that as a standard. But nowadays, you look at it, it's your garage door openers, it's your LED lighting, it's your televisions. Your televisions integrate within the entire home ecosphere.
Yeah.
And your appliances.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that.
It's pretty crazy.
Your whole home is, it depends on what level of integration you want, can be totally integrated.
Yeah.
Right down to, the water sensors in the basement, your alarm system in your home. It's all connected.
Yeah. Yeah.
And your communities are going to start looking that way even more so in the future.
Yeah. Do you think there'll be do you think on a community level there'll be some smart things added? Is that what you...
Oh, sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to me, there's, even though I always pick on the city for their standards for street lights and what have you, it's like, okay, you guys, you have to do better here. You don't need as many street lights, but, you want to stick in, solar panels anywhere, stick them on these things. Save us a little power, put them on low, between midnight and 6 o'clock in the morning. There's lots of things that you can do to conserve on that side of things.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
If you're running a fountain in a park, then it doesn't have to run 24/7. That's just ridiculous.
The government isn't the best at innovating. That's kind of why the private sector exists.
No.
They almost need to start giving them away every service for 5-year terms. Hey, why don't we get somebody else to handle garbage pickup for 5 years and see how they innovate it? Because
that'll never happen with unions.
Yeah, I know, right?
But I mean, here's the contrast. Like when we talk about Dallas, we talk about the United States. Community associations are far more powerful there, and the municipalities kind of wash their hands of that.
Really? Yeah.
They sit there and they'll charge you a nominal fee, but it's up to your HOA and the fees they charge to maintain that community.
Yeah.
So that's everything from the parks to the street lights to the roadways. So
really,
once you enter that subdivision, that's what your HOA fees pay for.
Oh,
so
cool.
At least you have, you talk about a sense of community, you have more control that way
over your community.
As opposed to, the municipality and, say, a counselor, responsible for 20 different communities.
Okay, so it's more like almost like a condo fee paying for some landscaping, maybe snow removal, stuff like that.
That's exactly what it is.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
And that's a sharp contrast to what we deal with here, where we almost try to neuter those community associations and keep them at bay. It just seems so wrong to me, because that's a level of control I believe people want in their community.
Yeah, 100%. No, I didn't know that they were that ingrained in the States. And it's crazy to hear something so close is something that we don't see the benefit in implementing as well. So that's pretty crazy. So I know some people hate HOAs and whatnot.
Oh, sure. I mean, you only hear the horror stories, but you never hear the
exactly.
good ones.
That's what
right?
I mean. Bad story travels 10 times faster.
That's right.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
But I think that's one innovation you could see within the communities is, and that keeps the cities, at a certain size, a certain level, and it's far more manageable.
Something as simple as even the rezoning being taken to that level, and then the communities being able to say, no, we don't want that. Some communities might say we want it.
You can want it.
Yeah.
But, it's no different than when we build a new suburban neighborhood. We typically try and concentrate multifamily or higher density product in
Yeah.
certain areas
Yep.
and transition them into single family homes.
Yeah.
You can't do that in an established neighborhood already
Yeah.
unless you have that local area planning in place.
Like when you look at, for instance, two communities right beside each other that are the exact opposite, basically, would be like Sage Hill and Nolan Hill.
Yes.
Sage Hill has very high density, multifamily, lots of tall apartment buildings,
Yes.
but they have the transit hub there.
Yes.
Whereas at Nolan Hill, a lot of single family, large lots, right? And the infrastructure is built accordingly in both of those. You can't you can't just start putting up towers in Nolan Hill. No one will have a way to get around without effectively. It'll be very backed up.
That's exactly the point.
Yeah.
So how do you do that in the inner city?
Yeah.
The only way you can do it is, well, let's go and bulldoze 4x4 blocks and go to it from there.
Yeah, it's interesting. You see now, though, in like, for instance, Forest Lawn, which the yuppies are buying up all of the spaces there, and they're getting redeveloped, all the houses, which is nice. And when I was looking at least at the map, it looked like single lot developments, which is just new houses getting built. So I liked that, and I feel like that's good, having the redevelopment happening in these older communities where new people come in, they buy the houses at a high price, and then those people, they get a good value for their place, and then the place gets redeveloped, the community becomes nicer, right? And that's the good side of redevelopment, other than the rip down 5 things. Like,
absolutely.
When I worked in Vancouver, like seeing buy
there's
5 lots
example.
And build a mansion on it, and then the mansion sits there empty, Yeah.
There's the extreme example, yes.
Yeah.
That's one reason why I don't like your new housing minister.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
Why do you put the guy at the helm who has no idea, no clue as to what he's doing other than, how to make a city more expensive?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so baffled by some of the decisions that these politicians make. It's baffling to me.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said, it's the smart people aren't going into politics, right?
No, unfortunately, they're
working
not.
for themselves.
Yeah,
and sadly, Canada's driving them away. They're not even here to consult because no one's listening.
Well, if you can get an invite to the table, I mean, we've talked about it in the past. Certainly, one of the questions is, how is the city helping out? Well, they're not. They came up with an affordable housing strategy, which is really a subsidized housing strategy that they didn't even include the industry in as in the conversation while they were developing it.
Yeah.
So who developed it? Well, a bunch of bureaucrats. A bunch of charities, and I think one individual maybe had some housing experience from 18 years ago in another country. How do you develop a housing strategy without including the entire industry in that discussion? So great, you have a strategy. How are you going to build it? Yeah. Because I could have told you a year and a half ago, there's no capacity. Yeah. There hasn't been capacity to build anything more for the last 4 years.
Yeah. Well, and it's the same idea to shed some light on it. Like in the States, they put together a team to look at AI policy, and what they do, they got Meta, and they got Twitter or X, and they got all these companies that are the leaders at it. They didn't just put together a bunch of bureaucrats, right?
Doesn't that just make sense?
Exactly. Yeah. So, we'll see. Hopefully, elections coming, and
fingers crossed, you might actually get some more competency there. I mean, you notice the ones that that voted in favor of blanket rezoning, and a lot of these I'll call them woke policies aren't rerunning. Yeah, yeah. Likely because they figured out that they're not going to win. Yeah. How ticked
themselves.
off? Well, save themselves. I mean, how ticked off are Calgarians now? Yeah. Taxes went up again. Every year you were in office, and you're implementing a bunch of policies that I don't agree with. Yeah. Yeah. So will the pendulum shift, and we'll actually get some more competency there?
I think it's interesting to look, because it's always the extremes that are the loudest.
Yes.
And all the people, the majority of people who are in the middle, they don't make enough noise, and they need to get out there, and they need to make a bit of noise. But it's the people who are a little bit unhinged on either side that make the most noise. and there's like, you can't do a poll on the internet because the only people who are going to answer it are the two extremes, right? Everyone else scrolls past it.
Yes,
They're like, that doesn't matter to me. But on the internet, if you ask a poll, you're going to get the two extremes. And then if you look at that, you're going to be like, oh, well, that must be how everyone feels. No. 70% of people didn't look at that. There's a bell curve there. And most people aren't looking at it. So it's interesting when these policies are getting looked at. They're like, is this good? And there's like, only people who are really yelling are.
Those are the people that are getting the attention, sadly. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I mean, you want your city, you want your council to have a bit of a social conscience. But first and foremost, running a city is a big business. So you want the most competent people, running that business. Right now, I would say there's very few that I would put on my management team there. But when you have your fingers in a $4 to $5 billion pot every year of our tax dollars, don't you want the most competent people there?
Yeah.
I'm always baffled by, how, we elect people just based on a popularity contest who go in there and, now it's my turn to run this whole thing.
Yeah. I recently, I had one of the, Kent came by my house. He's running for council, and he was talking to me, and I was like, look, all I care about is that our mayor isn't preaching climate change. She's at a municipal level. She doesn't have the job, and we didn't elect her to be solving world issues. We elected.
Was it anywhere in her platform? No, you didn't know you were getting that.
Yeah.
You didn't know she was going to scuttle the, the deal on an entertainment center and, lose the city the revenue from it, where we could have paid it off in 8 years.
Yeah. So
I'm baffled.
Well, hopefully
I'd get fired if I did that in my company.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Businesses, you're held accountable. It's not as much we do what we want, and then we ignore people when they say that we did it wrong. Right? It's you have shareholders, you have employees, you have families that you're responsible for, and you have to feel that burden. And sometimes I just wonder when are the politicians actually going to start feeling the burden? So hopefully, I'm excited to talk to Jeff next week and kind of bring some light to everything that he's wanting to do. But
that'll be a good conversation. Like I said, I mean, he's my candidate for mayor, even though I can't vote anymore in Calgary, but he's still my candidate. Because I know the man. I believe in what he's capable of doing. I know he can succeed in that role and make Calgary what it should be, which is the most prosperous city in Western Canada.
Are there any key things that you hope to see coming out of the election? Any changes in Calgary yourself, or
as far as what, candidates or the direction of the city?
Well, the candidates, I think we have a pretty good idea what you're looking for is a change, right?
You're looking for a change. Like I said, I'm not saying you can't be socially conscious. You have to be when you're there.
Yeah.
But you need the most competent and capable people in those roles. So let's get back to core services. That's what you're there to provide. You're not there to, to scuttle, Canada Day fireworks because, it's attached to colonialism. I mean, this is just stupid. I mean, that's where, woke goes extreme and what we've been dealing with for far too many years now.
And it discredits the good side of those things,
Absolutely.
Like it definitely does.
Let's tackle the cost of living. Let's tackle, you talk about downtown. Let's tackle the crime that we're dealing with in the city. We've gone through tremendous growth, and the downtown core isn't as safe as it used to be.
Yeah.
The rest of the city, I mean, we're dealing with more crime. Well, more boots on the street would really help, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Not only more boots, but I don't think that the safe injection site has been a good thing for the city. And Gondek wants to put one in every clinic in Calgary. She said there's not enough of them. I was like, but you can't put that in a residential neighborhoods clinic. I could only imagine what that would bring. Right now, at least they're stuck to the C train line, but you start letting them go to these other clinics and it's bad news.
Well, when you talk about safe injection, how's that working in Vancouver?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
There's more deaths there than anywhere else in the country. Why? Because we're legalizing, more illicit drugs.
Yeah.
this is stupid.
Yeah.
Are we just trying to kill off the Canadian population slowly?
It's definitely going backwards, and it's really tough.
Yes.
I think the whole problem is like at this point, everyone has someone within arm's reach who's been affected, and that makes it tough to write policy around it.
Oh,
right?
absolutely. My cousin lived in Vancouver. He died of a fentanyl overdose.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
How did he get it so easily?
Exactly. And it's so easy to get your hands on. And when you look at it, for instance, when you look at it, like you can't get an EpiPen easily, but you can get Narcan for free, right? But why if I'm at
That's a great example.
I'm at a Red Lobster, they don't have an EpiPen at Red Lobster. They probably have Narcan.
But they probably do, right? You can go up to the pharmacist. You can get the kit, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
All you have to do is ask for it.
Yep.
But if I go and I look for an EpiPen, it's, well, do you have a prescription?
Yeah.
No.
And they're very expensive. Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Yeah. So
but that's flooring. I had to go to the hospital to get my appendix taken out here in November. And, of course, I asked the one nurse, I said, what's that little room over there? Well, it's the overdose room.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
That's right in Emerge.
Well, there's telehealth now.
Yes.
That is, you can actually, and this is like government paying for this, is you can actually, like telehealth, for instance, you can call in and have a doctor watch you shoot up in case you OD, in case there was fentanyl in it. So the doctor sits there and makes sure that your drugs are good.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
no.
Well,
so what else do you need there? You need a mayor who's going to work with your premier, regardless of who it is.
Yeah.
If you don't, if you're not going to work with the provincial government, how successful do you think you're going to be in working together? Not only that, but receiving additional funding for, real needs for a city.
Yeah.
Because infrastructure is going to become a major issue,
It's
and
huge.
there's very few that really understand the implications of failing infrastructure across the entire country.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And look at just like even I don't know what caused it or anything, but the water pipes bursting, right? Look at the damage it did to Calgary, right? Like, imagine if more of that kind of stuff starts happening too, because we're overloading it, right? Like,
you're overloading it with things like blanket rezoning rather than
it's not built for it.
properly sizing it in the areas where it's capable of taking it.
Yeah. Exactly. So hopefully everything's going in the right direction. Hopefully they've had time to open their eyes over this last term, and
we can only hope. We can only hope.
Yeah. Hopefully Jeff will run a good campaign, I know, so that'll help. And then we'll see where it goes from there. It's 9:20 right now. How are you doing on time?
I'm good for timing.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk a little bit more about the, Shane Home group of companies, and kind of we touched on some innovations and some housing, right? And I was curious, as we see, like, there's a lot of cool technologies coming out in the world right now, like 3D printing is big, right? And
Yes.
AI is big, and I'm wondering, like, what chances are there that those are going to start making an appearance within, like, development of housing and just development in general in Canada or in Calgary?
In Canada or Calgary, I mean, we'll keep an eye on the 3D printing. Right now, I would say no.
Yeah.
When you see a lot of these 3D printing models out there and in communities in the United States are utilizing concrete to build.
Yes.
Well, it was a cold environment.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the best place to try and implement that, but you can keep an eye on what groups like Lennar are doing down in the United States, where they're building that kind of square box house and putting a roof on it, and we'll see how that goes for them, and if it makes sense. I mean, it's something that you'll see implemented. Will it be within the next 5 years? No.
Yeah,
I think we can do enough now with prefabrication, with panelization walls, and even modular to some degree on multifamily. But I think that's about as far as you're going to see the innovation go for now, until we can see other materials being used, or we can mix in a lighter material with better insulating value for our colder environments.
Yeah.
But that'll come.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I didn't actually think about it. Yeah.
This is what my brain explodes on. It seems like every night. But
Yeah, no, but
how
that's
can
good.
you do it? Well, it would make sense. If they can do that, well, we'll give it time.
Yeah, no, it's I definitely have those myself where I wake up in the middle of the night and I just like have the moment where I'm like, oh, I finally thought about that thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's just part of being a business owner. It's kind of just like you're always trying to think about the next thing, and yet you spend a lot more time. I think when I got into it, for instance, I thought I was gonna get more time off.
Mm-hmm. No.
No, I'm working
No,
24/7.
You're always working. That's the thing. My phone never
Yep.
goes off, and there's always texts, there's always emails, or, you wake up with that epiphany in the middle of the night, and next thing you know, you're going to your office to try and figure it out.
Yeah, and
before you lose it.
And there's so much more because, one, you're responsible for everything. It doesn't matter whose job it is. When you own the business, you're responsible. And that's how you're going to feel about it, right? Because it's your business. And there's a lot of pride involved in that too. But also, you're then responsible for the people. And you're responsible for those people's families if they have any too. You're responsible for making sure everything goes in the right direction so that you don't have to lay anyone off, so that you don't have to... You don't want to ever even have to fire anyone. You want to have...
You see, and that was one of the big things when we go back to 2020, you go back to lockdowns, there was a lot of fear there. I think within the first month, I had to make an announcement to everybody to say, look, if we can just break even this year, I'll guarantee everyone's job.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because there was that much fear. And before you know it, the floodgates open. People are out there, they're buying. And at a breakneck pace. I mean, they've been locked down long enough. Now they want more room. Now they've really had a chance to kind of assess their needs because they've lived in their home. They've really had to live in their home because they were confined to it.
Yeah.
And it hasn't stopped for 4 years.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
We finally had seen some reprieve here starting last fall. And even a little more this year, where you're finally seeing more of a balanced market here in Calgary. Other cities are completely different. If you go to Toronto, they're completely devastated. Vancouver's going through the same challenges. Where they're retracting right now.
Yeah. A bunch of Canadian cities shrunk over the last couple quarters, where Calgary grew.
Yes.
Which I can't remember the right numbers, so I'm not going to quote them, but I'm pretty sure Toronto and Vancouver both shrunk, and then Calgary grew, which was pretty insane to see, right?
Well, people are looking for opportunities. They're looking for affordability. They're looking for some reassurance.
Shorter commute even.
Shorter commute.
I have friends in Toronto who their commute is 3.5, 4 hours one way.
Yes.
Yeah. It's pretty insane to think about.
That's unbelievable.
I was living in Black Diamond, and my commute was 50 minutes one way.
Yeah.
And that's really far. So
But you thought it was great.
Yeah.
So now if you're coming from down east, or you're coming even from the West Coast.
Yeah.
That's pretty short.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I didn't mind it. And that's long for most people here. So yeah. Speaking about, like being an owner and like having all that responsibility in your business, like how have you dealt with stress through the years? Have you developed any like techniques yourself, or?
Well, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to. You don't know that early on in life when you're in business. You develop that, I think, over time. And you have to keep that stress level low. I mean, we play a very expensive game, as I call it. Every subdivision that we're in, I mean, that's a $9 to $10 million commitment in lots every year. So let's throw in 10 or 12 of those, and then people only put 5% down on their home usually. So who do you think's carrying the rest under work in progress? And at our size, we're carrying at least 400 of those all the time. That's another 110 to 180 million dollars. So yes, when you're playing in that kind of game and you've got over $250 million out every year, there's a lot of stress involved on top of the 160 people you employ, on top of the thousands of trades you've made a commitment to every year that they're going to be working. I mean, it can weigh down on you, but you have to understand that you're only one person. You can only do so much, and you just have to make a lot of the right decisions, more right decisions than wrong. Yeah. But you still make a few errors along the way. I mean, I'm still doing it even at my age.
Yeah. Yeah. I found earlier in my career, I had more trouble delegating because I wanted everything to be perfect. But you get to a point where you have no choice to delegate, right? And that was kind of enlightening to go through when you're like, okay, you actually need someone. If they can do 80% of what I'm expecting,
Yes.
then that's 100% of what I need. And you have to be at terms with the 80%. You actually, that I found very stressful myself.
That can be incredibly stressful because you know how you would do it.
Yeah.
And somebody else isn't going to do it the same way.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to have a different approach. They're going to have a different thought on timing. But fortunately, I mean, you find out how good those people really are. And, they become a part of your succession plan. And that's where we're at with our company. At 46 years now in business, we have a succession plan in place. Yeah, because a few of us are beginning to age out of the business. I mean, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, but my father is in his 80s. My siblings who are involved in the company are in their mid 60s. So, you have to start dealing with that new reality as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And you need some incredibly good people around you who you can delegate to make those crucial decisions.
Yeah. There's a lot of trust involved.
Oh, tons.
Yeah. You often speak about your parents and how much of your success you owe to them. What did they do to help instill like the values and the ambition that you have today and throughout your career?
Well, I'll tell you, I had a very different upbringing. I was the youngest of four siblings, and you can imagine that when you have a 9 to 12 year difference in age, that at one point, it's just me and my two entrepreneurial parents sitting around the kitchen table having dinner or weekends together. And, there's a lot of business talk. And, you hear a lot of the stories and you hear a lot of those values come out during those conversations. That's how it builds up into you. And, when you get involved in business with them, I mean, you hear it more and more every day.
Yeah.
And that's, at the Shane Holmes Group of companies, our values are very crucial to how we operate in business, from hiring to firing to any decision that we make if there's a customer issue, and I'm still that person there, preaching the same thing. So there's a lot of consistency in that over the last 46 years, but that's where it starts with your parents and who you are. I mean, integrity is a big part of it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Fortunately, yes.
Yeah, no. As well, I've had my dad has been a great mentor towards me, and that's kind of shaped the direction that I've been going. And I think it's really important, even if it's not a parent, to just have a mentor in business who can drive you in the right direction, who has the experience and the knowledge. I have a few, and it's really, when you don't know what to do, especially in the early stages, it's good to be like, hey, you've gone through this. And have somebody who you can refer back to, who can kind of give you that enlightenment, being like, oh, this is how I dealt with it, and this is how it worked out. Maybe that was good or bad, but even if they didn't do the right thing, you'll learn from their mistake if they did the bad thing, right? Sure. So it's really good to be able to see that, and then it's good to have values, and it's good to kind of have an assortment of them too, right? To have more than one set of mentors sometimes, to be able to say somebody has maybe more strengths there than there, right? For instance, me and my business partner are complete opposites, I would say. I'm
that should be a perfect combination.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very outgoing. He says distractive, but I say outgoing. And he's very work oriented. So he's always getting down to business, and I'm always thinking of the next idea. So it works out pretty well.
That's a great balance to have, because partnerships don't typically work out very well.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's a small percentage, but when Shane Holmes started out, it was Cal Wenzel, my father, and his business partner Barry Balsley. Cal was sales and marketing. Barry was field operations, construction, and it was a partnership that worked great for the first 20 years. And at 55, Barry's plan was to retire if he was financially capable, and he was. And he's never looked back, and he's the happiest retiree you've ever seen. Still talk to him, and he's just happy.
Could you ever see yourself retiring?
Not totally. I mean, much to the chagrin of my husband, Matt. I would have to have something to do. Yeah. I couldn't, would I, work the same hours? No. no, I think at some point in time, I mean, you know, when you lose a bit of the passion or you're not prepared to change anymore, you do have to step away from
Yeah.
things. You have to let that next generation do it. But
Yep.
you know, I'm still there. There's still things I want to achieve, but at some point in time, I will have to step away from it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe only pop in, you know, for board meetings or a few of the other things just to keep myself interested. It's no
Yep.
different than what my father does now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Same.
know, he doesn't pop in every day. He pops in every 2-3 days. You know, he's got a few things he does. A lot of it's focused on, you know, the foundation and charity, which he really enjoys working with now. It's great for him.
Yeah. No, that's awesome to hear. Yeah. Most people that we've had on so far, they said they wouldn't retire. So
You can't totally.
Yeah, it would be hard for me to step away. I think for me, work is one of my biggest hobbies. So it's like it's something that I just really like doing, to create something new, to chase something new, to build something, right? To be able to manage different projects. It keeps you kind of keeps you spry for sure.
That's the idea.
Yeah.
You know, as long as you're passionate about it, then it's not work.
Yeah. Well, Shane, I think this has been a great talk. I want to thank you so much for coming on as a guest and accepting the invitation. And
Well, Jordan, thank you for having me.
yeah, we've covered quite a bit of topics there, so it should be a fun listen. If there's anything else that you want to plug, is there anything coming up for Shane Homes? Any new things coming up that you want to talk about?
Oh, there's always new things coming up, new developments, new projects, you know.
Yeah.
You know, even getting involved with the purpose-built rentals there now. I mean, that's a new thing. But you know, Dallas is is one of the great things coming up. I'm so excited about that, to finally open our first show home.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's exciting.
It'll be a different world. It's interesting dealing with the Texans and
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Awesome. Well, that's great to hear. Well, thanks so much,
Jordan. Thank you. Appreciate it.